So we're thinking about Jesus this morning and what he said. Luke chapter 13, let's pick it up at verse 23. And someone said to Jesus, Lord, will those who are saved be few? And he said to them, strive to enter through the narrow door. For many, I tell you, will seek to enter and will not be able. Okay, so there's a question and there's an answer. The question, he's answering a question, and let's begin there. Lord, will those who are saved be few? And although there seem to be some Pharisees in the area sort of standing toward the back of the crowd, this question seems to be an honest question. But why? What would cause someone to ask such an abstract theological question? G. Campbell Morgan, in his commentary, suggests the question is born out of anxiety. I find that very helpful, very insightful. I wonder how many of our questions about the Christian faith and life are born out of anxiety, fear. Lord, will those who are saved be few? Now let's look at his answer. The answer of Jesus. The first thing we see in his answer is that he did not answer. He did not answer the abstract speculative question, but rather he issues a call for personal striving. He did not answer the abstract question, but rather issued a call for personal striving. So the question was indirect, abstract, hypothetical, but the answer is direct and personal. Strive to enter through the narrow door. Striving. Striving is angenzomai, that is to engage in intense struggle against strong opposition, to fight, to agonize. So this word striving leads me to immediately think of works righteousness. My salvation earned by my effort, my striving, versus salvation as a gift of grace received by faith. That's Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. For we are saved by grace through faith. So this grace perspective begins to open up in the next verse. Do we see it there? Verse 25. Jesus said, when once the master of the house has risen and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, open to us, then he will answer you, I do not know where you come from. When once is a reference to time and opportunity. When once the master of the house has risen up and shut the door. What does that mean? It means that Jesus is here to open the door, right? That's exactly what that means. And the narrow door is now open. Thank you, Lord. There will come a day when the door is shut. But this striving is a reference to time and opportunity because the narrow door is open. Let's go over this one more time because it's easy for me to think in terms of works righteousness when I hear this word strive. But strive is a reference to time and opportunity. Why? Because Jesus is here now and he has opened the door, the narrow door. So number one, Jesus opens the door with his earthly ministry. Remember when Jesus showed up in the synagogue in Nazareth at the beginning of his earthly ministry, he took the roll of the prophet Isaiah. He opened it to chapter 61 and he began at verse 1. And when he got to verse 2, he cut it off. He did not read all of verse 2. Do you see it there? Jesus read, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And he stopped. He did not read, and the day of vengeance of our God. Why? Because that's the master of the house shutting the door. Jesus is not here for the shutting of the door. He's here for the year of the Lord's favor. He's opening the narrow door. And then number two, we see Jesus is the door. That's out of John chapter 10. You remember that chapter as Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. But he begins with the image of being the door. Picking up at verse 7, Jesus said, truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. And finally, number 3, Jesus knocked. Now Jesus knocks on the door. This is Revelation chapter 3 that's given to the Apostle John. He writes, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door of his heart, I will come into him and eat with him and he with me." So Jesus opens the door, he is the door, and now he's standing at the door knocking. Jesus said, strive to enter the narrow door, because this is the time and the opportunity to enter that I've made, to enter the narrow door. So how? How do we strive to enter the narrow door? Not by familiarity, but by faith. Not by familiarity,